Today's lessons is points, lines, and planes. This is the first day. This is going to be just teaching vocabulary, and we're going to use our initials to learn how to do this. So let's start out with what is today's learning objective? My learning objective today is I can communicate math academic vocabulary, both speaking and using my own initials by using the correct number of letters, correct symbols, and upper or lowercase letters correctly. Let's just evaluate where we are on that. If we've never heard of that before, we're a novice. And if we know how to do this already, we're an expert, or we're somewhere in between. All right, I'm going to start out with, this is taught with a foldable. So if you print out the notes, I just want to repeat that these are mirrored. So whatever's on the right side really goes with the left side, and what is on the left side really goes with the right side. So we have a couple things going on here. I'm going to talk about point, lines, and planes. Point, lines, and planes are what we called undefined terms. And again, these are going to be on this side, inside the foldable. And then we're also going to talk about defined terms, and everything except points, lines, and planes are called defined terms. So the rest of the vocabulary we're going to have are defined terms, and these are going to be on the right-hand side, inside the foldable. Okay, so let's get started. Let's just start with some basic prefixes. Co means with or together, and the prefix non means not. Okay, so we're going to start out with points, lines, and planes. So point, here's the definition for point. A point is a location in space. It has no dimension, so we call it 0D. So I'm going to ask you to use your first letter from your first name. My first name is Kathy, so I'm going to use K for Kathy. So it's a capital K, and it has a symbol. So point is the first of undefined terms, and these are terms that we accept without any proof. And the only undefined terms are point, line, and plane. Everything else is a defined term. So I name a point with one capital letter. And it doesn't matter if the point is really tiny or if the point is really huge. It doesn't have a size. There is no dimension. Okay, let's try the next one. Line. So the next undefined term is a line, and it is named by two capital letters. In this example, my capital letters are A and B, and I use a line symbol with arrows on both sides underneath. The order of the letters does not matter, so I can say line AB or line BA, or I can name with a lower script and say line L, and I usually put the L by one of the ends. So a line is one dimension, so it keeps continuing without end, so that's what the arrows are for. Has no thickness and no width. Okay, my third undefined term is called a plane. Not an airplane, but a plane, and we usually show it in the shape of a parallelogram. So by definition, a plane is a flat surface. It has two dimensions, and it keeps on going even though we wrote it, making it look like it stopped. So I say the word plane, and I'm named by three non-collinear points. which means they're not in a row, or I name it by one script letter. So I either can name this plain ABC. So that since they're points, my letters are capital, or I could name this plain M, and it's this script M, okay? And usually when I have a letter, it's in a corner of the plane, and see there's no point with it. Okay, so let's go talk about, so the next thing we're gonna start talking about are defined terms. So defined terms are any other term other than point, lines, or planes. So let's start out. Collinear points. Co means they are with, and linear is line. So not within the line is non-collinear. So collinear means they're all on a line. So if I want them on a line, I'm going to use my initials. K, M. So these are all on the line. So this would be collinear, not collinear. They're not all on a line. So here is K, M, S. Coplanar means they're all in the same plane. So we said a plane, we usually show as a parallelogram. So they're all in the plane. So non-coplanar means they're not all in the plane. Okay. Okay, next on my list is segment. So a segment has two endpoints and includes all the points in between them, and the order doesn't matter, and this is my symbol here. So this would be segment AB or segment BA. So these are naming points, and points are capital letters, so we're going to name points. The order does not matter. Okay, the next vocabulary word I have is ray. So a ray has an endpoint and all the points to the other end. So the order does matter. I name the endpoint first. Okay, so I always name the endpoint first. So this is going to be ray AB. Or I could say this this way and draw my line or my arrow this way. No, that's kind of hard to see. Let's see. So ray AB or ray AB. Okay, so I have the endpoint by A because I'm talking about the endpoint first. So the order of array matters. When I have two rays going in opposite directions, I call these opposite rays. And then I have a point that lies, so a point C lies on line AB between A and B. So my two rays are ray CA. So I'm naming the endpoint first. And ray CB are opposite rays. So this is ray CA. And this one is ray CB. So I named the endpoint first. So here's my endpoint. I'm naming that by letter C. Okay, last is I have the intersection of two different lines. is a point. So these are intersections of points and lines. So when I intersect two lines, so line N is intersecting line M at a point. And when I have two planes intersect at a line. So I'm going to call this line Q. Okay, so let's do this with our own initials. Oops. Let's do an assignment with our own initials. So let's get started. How do I use these to name my own initials? So I want you to put your first name and your last name. So my first name and my last name are Kathy Stout. If I can get my color here. So Kathy Stout. So my initials are KS. So if you have two of the same initials, if your name is Bob Brown, so if you have the same initials for your first name and your last name, you're going to have to use subscripts. So I know which one you're talking about, okay? If you have two different names, you don't have to use subscripts. Okay, so I want you to describe what's the symbol. And my name, I want to draw a line with my initials. So here's a line. Could look like this. Could look like this. Could look like this. So there's many ways you can draw it, okay? And for a symbol, this is line KS or line SK. Okay, so some of these you can do several different ways. So for your assignment, you are going to finish representing your initials as our vocabulary.